saw, and now Mr. Squidward, and unwary, pulled out and grabbed his pants and unbuckled his gigantic shell. Mr. Squidward awoke to Mr. Krabs' giant shell in his face, sweaty and all kinds of sticky. So Mr. Krabs told Mr. Squidward, "How about you give it a lick, Mr. Squidward?" Squidward obliged and told him, "Yes, I will." As soon as Mr. Squidward started licking Mr. Krabs' shell, he couldn't resist no longer. And as soon as he did that, Mr. Krabs used all of his fury and blew inside of Mr. Squidward's mouth, causing Mr. Squidward to lose conscious and to go unwary. The next day, Mr. Squidward woke inside of a strange room, almost basement-like place, and there he saw Sandy, SpongeBob, Patrick, and everybody else all naked. And he looked up and he saw Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs was naked, sitting on top of a throne with SpongeBob and Patrick licking at his sweaty balls, while Sandy was licking on top of his gigantic shell. And this Squidward started questioning. Let me drive. Started questioning what is going on. Mr. Krabs told Mr. Squidward, "Why don't you join us, Mr. Squidward? We all are having a blast here." And so Mr. Krabs told SpongeBob and Patrick to get off of him. And so he went over to Mr. Squidward. Pulled him up off the ground and started French kissing him. And he started saying how he would never leave Mr. Squidward behind. But this all is all just a trick, for you see, Mr. Krab has been creating a harem all these days. Every single character that you don't see no longer on Bikini Bottom or SpongeBob is a part of his harem. For you see, Mr. Krabs has been brainwashing and manipulating the people of Bikini Bottom into making them into his sex slaves with his gigantic shell. Women and men both fall to his knees, and so that's how they all did it. Mr. Krabs was only making sex slaves. Sex Toy knew this, but he still obliged to do it. So as soon as Mr. Krabs and Mr. Squidward started French kissing, and they ended it, Mr. Squidward said, "Take me, Mr. Krabs, and I shall join you." And so that's when Mr. Krabs and Mr. Squidward started ferociously going at it. Mr. Krabs was pounding into Squidward's soft calamari hands and his sweet, sweet, sweet butthole. Mr. Squidward kept on saying, "Oh, stop, Mr. Krabs, stop right now." But Mr. Krabs could not hear him. All he heard was, and thank you for tuning in, listening to one of my stories that I made up on the spot. Goodbye. You will.